a very polarizing kind of thought that doesn't give you a perspective of anything that's happening in the middle here. And because of that, it is considered distorted logic. And people know this, and people will use it against you, especially in the media and with politics, which is such a... Did you know that you can be impacted by language in ways that you might not even be aware of? The things that you tell yourself, the things that you tell other people, the messages that you receive from other people, and other sources such as the media. So these messages, these thoughts that you tell yourself and so forth, impact your emotions and then impact your behaviors, all at a level that you might not even be aware of. Welcome to Sabra Says. Many of you know me. I'm Dr. Madsen. I'm a clinical psychologist. And today we are going to talk about one of the types of thinking that can be distorted that we might not even be aware is happening on a subconscious level. And this one is called all or nothing thinking, or sometimes called black and white thinking. So when you engage in this type of thinking, typically you will either hear yourself say, or it will be implied that it's either this or it's that. If this, then that. Either this or that. So it's a very polarizing kind of thought that doesn't give you a perspective of anything that's happening in the middle here. And because of that, it is considered distorted logic. And people know this, and people will use it against you, especially in the media and with politics, which is such a hot topic right now. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear a lot of it. And it's really at the root of what causes a lot of disagreements, a lot of anger, and a lot of fear, because anger is driven by fear. If you're thinking it's either this or it's that, then anytime somebody brings up anything in this area, you're going to feel completely on the other side and maybe frightened and angry because of it. When in reality, we all are probably somewhere a little bit in between, but may not even realize it. So this type of thinking, if you tend to be the kind of person that engages in this kind of thinking, you might be a little bit rigid in your beliefs. You might have a history of trauma. Often people who have a history of trauma will create these all or nothing kind of rules in their life as a way of trying to keep themselves safe. In the military, it's very much encouraged, all or nothing thinking. And there's a reason for it, because on the battlefield, or, if you're in the middle of some kind of military operation, there's no time to really think. And that kind of thinking actually keeps people alive. Unfortunately, it does not translate well into civilian life, and that's one of the difficulties that people have when it comes time to transitioning to civilian life. So basically, if you learn to kind of recognize this kind of thinking and learn to stop yourself, if you have that awareness that you're doing it, and you stop yourself and you say, okay, like what would be like the middle ground here? What you'll do is you'll reduce your own fear and anxieties about the situation, because it'll be more balanced and you'll find yourself in less conflict with other people. So some examples here. If you are in a relationship and you say, well, if you love me, then you would do such and such. Well, people can love people without doing that such and such. Like there is a middle ground there. Maybe there's a reason that they don't want to. Either you're for me or you're against me. We see this in politics. Either you're on this side or you're on that side. And it's very polarizing. It actually turns people into enemies that wouldn't be enemies otherwise. Also, if you look at like specific political topics, gun regulation, abortion, immigration, what is pushed by the government and by media is this very much all or nothing. Either you're for guns or you're against guns. Either we have them all or we have none of them. And in reality, I think a lot of people just want some form of sensible regulation that keeps everybody safe. But because of this polarizing kind of thinking, it makes people feel afraid that they're going to have their rights taken away from them. And on the other side, it makes people fearful, that thinking that anybody can have a gun and do anything. Same thing with abortion and immigration. I mean, if you really think about both sides of the issue, very few people are truly, totally one end or the other. I think if you actually talk about the issues, people are somewhat in the middle, but our political climate right now really doesn't allow for that unless you are really aware of this happening. And that's one of the goals that I have, is for people to have more awareness. Think about the middle ground. Stop thinking about one another as enemies when we're not, and kind of get along better and have less emotional distress. So this is the first, what we consider a cognitive distortion, all or nothing thinking. I hope that it is helpful in raising your awareness of thoughts that you might be having that might be leading to your own emotional distress, or possibly, if you're projecting those onto other people, causing other people stress, like maybe to have a little more tolerance and grace for one another. Thanks for listening, and remember, we're all a work in progress.